What's going on, all you horror movie maniacs out there? That's right, it's your boy PhatSamuraiGuy is back again with an interview video with what is going on? What? We have the legend himself, Rob Jabbaz. That's right, director of The Sadness, hanging out with the samurai today, doing a little Q&A action while I got you here. Thanks again, brother, for showing up for a few minutes.
My pleasure.
Yeah, man. The Sadness, what a wild ride. So before we jump into it, I have to ask you, man. So how did you get into, making film projects or just projects in general in Taiwan? How did that come about?
I just was already here. Like this is where I've lived and worked for most of my adult life, and and I just had the opportunity. And I mean, I guess sometimes you just kind of you get an opportunity to do something, and it's not how you envisioned it. Like I never envisioned you don't envision making a Chinese language film,
right,
or to be in more of a broad sense, just you don't envision making a film that's not in your mother language or native language or whatever, and outside of your country and sort of outside of your culture and stuff. But when the opportunity comes, it's you have to kind of just go with what life gives you, I guess, not to sound like I'm a philosopher or something like that, or
no, it's film is film, no matter what language, right? As long as you get your story across, and and the story in this one, it just translates to insanity, so everybody can relate. Mm-hmm. You could probably watch this without subtitles, and you'll kind of have at least a gist of what's going on.
Yeah, well, that was something that I tried to, because here's the thing: is to my point before, I'm making something that is outside of my culture and outside of my native language. So, you can't really make something that's really how do you say that, connected to the language and to story, in terms of it's kind of trying to tell a joke that's in a language that's not your own language. It
gotcha.
becomes, it's not going to come through as funny as it normally would. You miss all this nuance and stuff. So I figured that's what it's like. It's you're a horror guy. It's like watching a Claudio Fragasso, a Italian movie made in America. When the Italians used to come to America and make sort of American movies, and it's all the dialogue comes off all weird and everything. So
yeah,
it's I know that that's going to happen, even if I get a translator and all this stuff. There's going to be a flavor of it being off. So I thought it's better if it's just action. It's better if it's just stuff happening.
Yeah. It worked perfectly, man, because this was a wild ride. For those of you watching right now, make sure you check out PhatSamuraiGuy's review. I go into semi-detail because I don't want spoilers, but we can talk a little bit of spoilers today because I got the legend here in the house hanging out. But yeah, man, really enjoyed it. Just wild. So I got to ask right off the bat, how crazy was it filming this movie, man?
It was all right. I mean, it wasn't that crazy. It was just
so nobody in the neighborhood was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Everyone in the neighborhood was like, "What the fuck is going on?" But it's I guess I was just really enthusiastic. I was full of energy and
nice
and and like I said, enthusiasm and positivity. And I was just excited about getting the movie done. And also, I had a lot of freedom with the film in terms of the script and in terms of how I was doing it. So in my mind, I was if this thing is shit, it's going to be my fault, right? So it's there's a lot of pressure in that sense, right? I can't blame this on anyone if it doesn't work out. So that was really motivating me. And yeah, I mean, I didn't really run into any problems in terms of anything that was out of the ordinary. Occasionally there's a day we get rained out, or maybe I don't know, maybe we find out that we run out of we don't have the right extras one day, or something very boring like that. But in terms of like big like accidents, or like, thank God we didn't have any like anyone get hurt or anything like that.
That's great. Yeah.
Everything was chill. Everything went pretty much according to plan.
Safety first. Safety
Right. Always first. There's no movie that's good enough to warrant someone getting seriously injured.
I agree. But yeah, man. So before we have some fun talking about the movie, what did you have already a concept kind of written a little bit? Like, this is kind of what I want to go for, or did you have other inspirations, influences that kind of help merge your creativity of creating the sadness?
Like, I was asked to write a zombie movie. I was actually commissioned to do the script. It wasn't sort of like I was something that I had dreamed about for a long time. It was like sort of, okay, the pandemic's here. We need to make a film. Let's do a zombie film. And I was just the guy who was hanging around, and I was like, well, me? Oh, okay, sure. And I just kind of, I started writing the film, and the influences. I mean, I've talked about ad nauseum. The comic book Crossed was a big influence, obviously, just in terms of like sort of premise,
right.
Also flavor, like because that comic tends to lean into the gore a lot, and I think that it's very clear that the sadness kind of has the same, goal, but also like there's also certain things like James Herbert's The Fog. Have you ever read that before? It's like a British book. It's basically about a fog that makes people go crazy. And sorry, go on.
No, I just seen the John Carpenter movie and the really bad remake.
Yeah. This doesn't have anything to do with that. This is I thought The Fog, when I first saw like the movie as a little boy, when I first was going to see the movie The Fog, I thought it was going to be like The Blob. I thought it was going to be about like a fog that would dissolve you and turn you into a skeleton or something. And I was like, this is complicated. But anyways, the Fog, the James Herbert book is about a fog that makes you go crazy. And there's a scene in it where a boys' academy during phys ed class, they start torturing their phys ed teacher, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's got to be in a movie. So I kind of tried to bring some of that flavor to the scene at the basketball court in The Sadness.
But speaking of craziness, let's talk about the sadness. That's right. If death metal were a film. There you go. I like the ring of that. Let's have some fun talking about this a little bit, man. But yeah, like right off the bat, when I was watching the movie, we have this introduction with our couple here, and they're getting a little lovey-dovey, and then there's a little bit of a relationship issue. She's got her dreams, he's got his dreams, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of separate. They go to their own jobs and separate. And then, right off the bat, something's just not right. And I love the uneasiness of the film. I love that haunting, impending doom of that movie until the shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And I love how you didn't waste any time with the shit hitting the fan. 15-minute mark, boom, let's go, baby. And man, just what a wild ride, man. I love the effects. Mm-hmm. Who did the effects and the makeup and all the awesome creativity? Look at this, juicy. Yeah, who did all the I want to give them credit.
Yeah. Well, it's IF SFX Art Maker. It's an outfit in Taipei City. They were able to do all the all the makeup effects and all the sort of little gags that we did. They were busy for a few months putting that all together, and they never really let me down during the production. So
it's fantastic effects, man. Fantastic gore makeup effects. Loved it. Were you a fan of Lone Wolf and Cub movies?
Yeah. I was thinking more like, I didn't really discover those until kind of like later in life. Like, also like the like Akira Kurosawa, because I think Akira Kurosawa kind of invented that sort of thing, that blood spray thing. But the first time I ever saw
Sanjuro. It was in Sanjuro, yeah.
For sure. But I was thinking like probably like a Takashi Miike movie was probably the first time
Oh.
I ever saw that. You know, like Fudo, the New Generation or something.
That guy, Ichi the Killer. I mean, that guy's phenomenal. But yeah, I could see that too for sure. Definitely Takashi Miike.
Right.
But yeah, just craziness, man. Once this Alvin virus kicks in, that is it. Hold on to your butts. That's right. Samuel L. Jackson, Jurassic Park, 1993. I said it. But yeah, I love a lot of people that have watched the film and have enjoyed it, and we've spoken about it here. They can't stop talking about the train sequence, man. Like they just cannot. They're like, man, that was just. I was expecting it to go crazy, but not that crazy.
Yeah, I just wanted to do like, I mean, maybe I'm a naive kind of guy or something, but like I just thought that it would be, you know, it would sort of grab the audience. Obviously, there's like a fantasy element in the sadness. Like, I mean, there's this, you know, it goes over the top, and there is sort of like a leaning into this sort of Evil Dead kind of vibe, where it's like the violence is not meant to be 100% realistic. It's sort of meant to kind of stylized in a certain way. So, but with that, it was, you know, it's not like I'm trying. It was the intention with sort of going over the top was sort of to achieve kind of like a not something that's unrealistic, but something that's like hyper realistic, like something that's like, you know, blown out of like kind of just, you know, the feeling of actually being in that situation and just kind of like being like existing in this kind of moment of hell or something. And
it escalated, man, perfectly. So very well directed by you and acted by everybody involved.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure. This character right here, man. He's like my favorite character you love to hate in this movie. This actor did a phenomenal job. Was he difficult to work with?
He was the best guy on the set. I love that guy so much. Tzu-Chiang, you know, not only was he an amazing actor, but also he was like sort of an on-set cheerleader for the movie.
Nice.
Helped to kind of like, you know, to kind of just his presence provided kind of elevated the film. Like it made people kind of, you know, work harder because they knew that they were going to get something good on the other end. He also mentored the younger actors and tried and helped them to kind of sort of approach things differently in terms of acting. And then like even all the way up to today, whenever I post anything about the sadness or whatever on Instagram, he's always the first guy to like it, you know, and repost it. Like he's just a great guy. If I came away from the sadness with anything, like that relationship, I think is one of the things I hold in the highest regard.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. But yeah, he's my favorite character you love to hate in the movie. Like this guy is just having a blast playing this character, man. And it was definitely a lot of fun seeing him getting into his shenanigans. But man, he was just too good, this guy, to the point where you could have taken everything else away and just had him be the main antagonist for another film. And it still would have worked because this guy was just so good.
On the other end of that, actually, I don't think that the film would have held together if it wasn't for him. Like it's sort of like, well, I really do believe that it's like Nightmare on Elm Street without Freddy sort of situation. Like you need the central villain, you need the face of the film. You know, like Frosted Flakes without Tony the Tiger or some shit like that.
Yeah, there you go. No, it makes sense to me. I totally get it. Get it.
And this is also the reason why I think it would be difficult for me. It's difficult for me to even think about a sequel or any kind of offshoot, because it's like, you know, spoiler, everyone, he dies, and now that he's dead, it's kind of like, where do you go? And it's like, I'm not entirely sure that it's worth it for me. Like, I don't know what I would want to say going forward if I don't have that character. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Well, quick question. You know, due to the success from The Sadness, have you been pressured recently a lot to do a sequel? They're like, come on, do more.
Not really. No, like nobody pressures old Rob Jabbaz, you know. But I've definitely been asked a lot about what I want to do next.
There you go.
So I have ideas for doing projects that, you know, are still very much horror things, but you know.
What's some of your favorite horror movies?
Oh, my favorite, like, I mean, ones that I keep coming back to a lot. Like, I mean, Hellraiser's probably like the number one for me.
Nice.
Just I love the simplicity of it and just the creativity, and you know, it just covers all the bases. And it's also like so serious. Like it came out during a time when there was a lot of humor or tongue in cheek kind of. You know, it was 87, so I mean that's right around Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. And it was just this like really serious approach to horror, which I thought was awesome.
And the sequel is great too. I enjoyed the Hellbound.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sequel is also very good. But like, I mean, the first one. I mean, what do you think that some people like the second one better? Do you like the second one better?
I'm always back and forth on it.
Yeah,
you know, I'm always like Alien. You know, I'm always like Terminator 2. I'm always back and forth. Right. I love both so much.
Yeah.
Two has more action. There's actual confrontation, if that's what you're going for.
Yeah. And I know you like action. You're an action kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
I guess I think that just the first one, the first Hellraiser, is just really tight and works like a haunted house movie, and just the efficiency of it is what I like a lot about it. You know.
Yeah, and it ended perfectly. Like it could have just been one movie. You didn't even need a franchise. Like it was just done so well. The first Hellraiser.
Yeah, it definitely did not need a franchise. A sequel just to expand upon the world is good. But then, and I even like Part 3.
Me too.
Yeah, but one, like, I remember seeing Part 4 in the theater as a boy, and just knowing as a kid, like this is not what I like about Hellraiser. You know.
You're like, what happened?
And then it just goes from there. But I don't know. I got other horror movies. In terms of like zombies and stuff. I mean, I really like Return of the Living Dead.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's so favorite. Good. Yeah. And Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead, I feel, is underrated.
Yeah, that came out at the same time, the same year, 85, right? And
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. But
it just ages so well for me. I like that movie more. I watch it now. Dawn of the Dead is like the one. I mean, Dawn of the Dead is phenomenal, but I feel like Day of the Dead just doesn't get a lot of love. I feel.
I think it does. I see
maybe
it,
now, maybe
for sure. It's kind of like you start to see sort of like, for example, I'm a big fan of Session 9 as well, like the 2001 movie with Peter Mullen and David Caruso. Did you ever see that?
I did, but I need to rewatch it.
Okay. Well,
it's been so long.
Yeah. I feel like that movie gets talked about more now. Like, I feel like it's getting more attention these days. People bring it up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing. Like, you know, Day of the Dead, when it first came out, people didn't really like it. They thought it was too, I don't know, nihilistic or angry. But these days, you know, I think it's held in you know, appropriate regard. I think that probably like you know, younger people these days, if they were forced to watch, you know, those boring old zombie movies, they probably would like Day of the Dead best, just because it has the most realistic, you know, gore or whatever. No one wants to watch a dusty old black and white movie. Dawn of the Dead, you know, is cool, sort of, you know, in theory, but the blood in it looks like melted crayons. Quote from Savini himself. And then and then
we forgive it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the ideas are good enough. And then the third one, the Day of the Dead, is the only one that actually kind of feels like a modern horror movie that maybe could possibly been made today, sort of thing. You know,
right?
Especially
perfect. I can see that.
You have The Walking Dead to compare it to. So there.
Yeah, and I stopped after Negan showed up, so I didn't continue.
Yeah,
I heard I dodged a bullet. So
oh, really? Yeah, I don't know. Like I like that. I was watching some of those like meaner episodes of well, not the episodes, but the clips, and it looked kind of like, oh wow, you know, it's nice to see sort of stuff going, stuff being this like audience hostile on TV. You know, like you don't usually get to see.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. I love when Negan fucked everybody up. I love that. When everybody was freaking out, I was like, yeah, this is crazy. I love it. It was just after that, I just kind of fell off the show, just lost interest. But
Yeah.
But hey, if it's still good, hey, you never know. I might jump back into it. Let's get back to the movie here. Were you satisfied with the finale,
Yep.
or
I
did
know.
you have original idea first?
Nah, you're saying this to me because I know that you weren't terribly satisfied with the finale, but I am satisfied with the finale.
Okay.
I wanted it to because here's the thing: is you can go like you start the film, as you said before, like there's that moment about 15 minutes in where it just kind of gets in the first gear,
Yeah.
and then it does its thing. You go meet the neighbor, all that stuff. Then it goes in this. Then it kind of goes into second gear, and that's the train scene and stuff. And then we kind of chill out. Then there's sort of the basketball scene. I'm basically going through the whole film, and then
That's fine.
and then we go through. Then we have sort of like, and it's up till this point, like it's sort of it's pretty rough, but it's all in the spirit of just a horror movie, right? But then we have
So you're saying it peaked?
No, I'm not saying it peaked. I'm saying that
Okay.
in I guess in a way in that sort of way, like in that gear, it peaks, right?
Right.
But then like in terms of just like something that's actually really hostile to the audience, like probably the sexual assault of Molly by the businessman is the peak, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like you're sitting there and you thought you knew what this movie was about, and then all of a sudden it hits you with something. This is the way I perceive it. Other people may not perceive it this way, but I guess I'm just trying to say kind of what I was thinking when I was doing it, because I edited the film too, right? So like the modulation and the flow of the film is something that I was thinking. So there's that part, and that part kind of puts you in a place of just like, oh Jesus Christ, this is, I didn't know if I was ready for that thing. And then we have the death spoiler. We have the death of the businessman, and then all of a sudden it's like, where do you go from there, right? And then then we introduce this like scientist guy, right? And I've heard people kind of say like, this is the part where the film slows down. But for me, it's more just kind of like it's trying to add some context to this sort of idea of what this virus kind of means and what it what it means, like in terms of like an existential kind of thing, where it's like how little has to change in order for us to be this way, and how close we are to being this way already, etc. And also I wanted to put Kat into a situation where we don't really know if this guy's good or if he's bad or whatever, and is she in danger or is she not, and kind of maybe make you feel like she's in danger, but then kind of make you think, okay, this guy's okay, but then bring you, pull the rug out from under. And then finally, like the actual ending of the film, where she encounters Jim. For me, this is kind of like Kat understanding that in this world, or in her world, love, like true love, now in his mind has become violence and sexual depravity and
that I actually really liked. I actually really liked that part right at the end, especially with the dialogue he says to her, and how at first that whole scene is like lovely and wonderful, and then it just, oh shit, it turns into something else, and then she's out of there. Yeah, I like the very last shot. That was great.
Yeah, for me, it's like I guess some people they watch the film and they want it to be like Dead Alive or something, like where it increases, it kind of ramps up and kind of ends on sort of like a big set piece. But I guess in my mind, I was kind of thinking I would kind of towards the end bring it in and kind of make it more about what this means in terms of their relationship, or what it means in terms of just like ourselves or something. That was the way I was thinking about it when I watched the film. It's like, yeah, this is pretty much how I want it to be, and I wouldn't change it. But I do see people when enough people have the same criticism, it's kind of like you're kind of like, well, there's something here to listen to,
Right.
it's worth listening to. But
well, despite the very few issues I had, because I gave the movie an A-. So despite just the few issues I had, I mean, there's enough wonderful, beautiful gore in this, and to satisfy this gore hound right here. So I'm good for sure. Like it goes beyond. I'm just greedy, Rob.
Well, here's the thing. Like people act like this movie, like they get this movie all the time. Like, I mean, people are just kind of like, it's fine. It's a little meh to me. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? What other movie that's come out in the last like 15 years has been like this?
Nothing.
So
no. I think I even said that in my review. I said, this is the goriest, like most just crazy zombie-like movie I've seen in years. Like, I can't even remember the last. I think I said that in the review. There's nothing like this right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not here to argue, pal. Like, I mean, I know that you gave a good review. It's just that, like, you're, especially as a first-time filmmaker, like I often fall into the trap of like looking at reviews and stuff, and I'm just like, and whenever I see, like, I'm fine with people saying like it's disgusting or whatever, or I mean, I'm fine with people noting the sort of deflation of energy towards the end, because I do think that is a valid point to raise. But to say that to be kind of just like, it's whatever, it's fine, like just to kind of have sort of a dismissive reaction is just like this kind of film does not get made these days. No. And I mean, and if you see films in the future that are kind of gory and have this kind of energy to them, it's probably going to be due to the success of the sadness, because like this movie is having a pretty decent success within the niche. And actually I've heard, like, I have friends who are at Cannes Film Festival right now who are telling me that there are some gory films, some really gory films coming out. And obviously, since they're made already, I'm not sure how much influence the sadness would have had on them directly. But how sometimes like film just kind of moves in waves, and like certain, Reservoir Dogs comes out and all of a sudden the 90s become very violent, like, or something like this. I really hope that there is sort of just like a move to really, gory, violent, nihilistic cinema.
Me too.
That'd be great.
I hope this movie definitely opens the door for other filmmakers to make their entertainingly fun, crazy movies. You know what I mean? And when I got done watching this, I called up my buddy and I said, finally, it's been a while, goddamn it, but finally a horror movie with balls.
Yes.
I was like, finally, man, finally. Because there's, not that I'm saying that there's anything wrong with elevated horror, which I haven't made up my mind yet if I hate or love that term yet. There's nothing wrong with that. There's some well-made horror films out there. But still, I mean, there's genres, within genres, and there's a genre for everyone. And I think this type of genre film we need to see more of. I really do, because let's be honest, majority of the horror movies that come out in mainstream Hollywood is stuff like, some bullshit like The Bye-Bye Man and stuff like that. Truth or Dare, like garbage. You know what I mean? And it's nice to see finally. It's like a director, makes a really great action flick with really satisfying fight scenes in it, and I'm just like, finally, because we don't get that all of the time.
It's true,
and that's why I couldn't help but really be entertained by your movie, man. And again, I'm so happy for your success with it. I can't wait to see what you bring us next, man. I'm salivating over here. That's right. And I know I only got you for a little bit. Thank you for staying a little longer than planned. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Actually, let me give you a my take on sort of elevated horror.
Sure, go ahead.
And then I got to go. But
yeah.
As far as that is concerned, I mean, I probably the first time we started hearing that was around like 2017 or so, like sort of Hereditary time, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, prior to that, there was like Babadook.
The Babadook, yeah.
Yeah, which is a film that I still don't get. I never really. I mean, there's a lot of people who love that film and stuff, and it's like, okay, well, there must be something to like about it. I never really got it. I think Hereditary was like a game changer. Like that was just such a great film, you know.
Love the ending.
Yeah, absolutely. I just like the whole thing and just how it just kind of offered a whole lot of stuff that we just never had seen that before, or we hadn't seen it in a really long time, you know. And I think that a lot of like filmmakers, it happens all the time. Like they look at something like that, and then maybe it's not filmmakers, maybe it's more like the people who are up the chain a bit, like producers or the people who are putting together the project, and they confuse, they confuse the like honest tension and like mounting suspense and all of these things that are like in the ingredients that seem to make up elevated horror or whatever theoretically, and they confuse them with just nothing happening. You know what I mean? Like it's like they confuse these things with just a woman like Alicia Cuthbert, like slowly going down like a hallway with a flashlight or something, and it's like, oh, this is elevated, and it's just like, no, this is just boring. Like, so like, I mean, there's definitely is a place for the killing of a sacred deer and these movies that really try to do something with the genre. Like, I mean, that is really that is really going to be the stuff that kind of catches people's attention and kind of shows that horror can be like something that can push beyond just sort of schlock, But then I think there's also going to be stuff, like that deals with like what the sadness deals with, which is like revulsion, like disgusting stuff and shock. Gaspar Noé is a great example. Like the films of Gaspar Noé, I think are they are also elevated horror, but they're hard and they're really difficult, and I think that sort of stuff often gets dismissed too. People tend to find it very easy to dismiss stuff that works with shock, and I don't know. I just think that I'm glad that there's just people out there who kind of can watch these films and they can appreciate them on their own terms. And not get kind of caught up in this sort of language of online criticism, elevated horror, etc. Yeah,
I call it good movie.
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
I'll take it. I liked that,
Yeah. There you go. I like that. And speaking of liking, I know you guys, if you're into this genre, that's right, this sort of genre, that's right, brain eating, that's right, saw blade cutting. All right, stabbing, blood squirting. If you're into that, that's right. Y'all know what you need to do. First of all, you need to follow my boy Rob. That's right. Put his information in the description box below for his Instagram page. Stay tuned. That's right. I cannot wait to see what he's going to bring us soon in the future. And don't forget to watch The Sadness, baby. That's right. It is on Shudder right now. Check it out. If you don't have Shudder, rent it, buy it, share it. Enjoy it. That's right. And support Raven Banner, baby. That's right. The banner of badassity. That's right. And thank you so much, Rob, for hanging out with Samurai Guy today. I could talk to you about horror movies all day, my friend. And hopefully we get you back on here in the future, man. Any future projects, let me know, my friend. Thank you.
Next week, I'll be on there. Bye-bye.
Hey, anytime, my friend. Take care, brother.